Hey guys, it is Scotch for Dummies.
Four guys on a Scotch journey to help you with your next Scotch purchase. This is Drew.
This is Andrew.
This is Mark.
This is Mike.
Guest Mike on the show.
No Sean. No Sean tonight.
No Sean. He may be online later, but he is not physically in the house.
He's not physically in the state.
That is correct.
He is OUT. Yeah. So guess what? We had an empty seat, and we haven't had Mr. Bob Blair in the house in a while, and
we just happen to have Bob Blair. That we have Mr. Bob Blair here.
Yank my cane all the time.
So anyway, let's get into. I need a dram actually. I want to see who's online and what's going on with this. Drew, your dog is down here sniffing all over the place.
Yeah, that's what he does.
What's up, Travis?
He does do that. So
how
do I get
buddy?
this thing to go down?
Been a while.
There we go.
So we were having technical difficulty. You can see we're in a different location. We're on location.
Everything is different tonight.
At his bar.
We are.
But his internet was having problems, but now it's back.
Are you guys used to that? We are.
I mean, it was a whole new system. It's a new, mic laptop versus the old Scotch for Dummies PC and lots of things. So hopefully AV is okay and you can see us okay. So let me do cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen.
I guess.
To everybody out there in internet land and virtual land, pull up a chair, pour yourself something good. For the folks listening later on during the podcast, I hope you find time to pour something during the show. And
if you've not seen our show, make sure you tune in for a live show Thursday nights at 10 p.m.
Right.
Eastern time,
and we obviously release a video every Monday, usually around the afternoon time frame, around 3 or 4 o'clock Eastern time as well.
Right.
Love to see you on the chat. If not, we also have a Discord channel, Scotch for Dummies. So look for us on there as well. Love to talk to you guys if you're on podcasts.
Absolutely. I want to see who's online this Thursday night. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Put a comment online so we know you're there. We'll call you out. We'll go through that.
It's hard to be. Look at KB was on early.
Good.
Yeah,
Good Lord,
he's flying. So there's lots going on right now. So I'm going to start with the bottom and work up. Wheelhouse Whiskey, Trooper Henry, Oscar Zoroaster, James McGee, Zach, Tom R, DeSilv 2.
Tom R's on?
Tom R is on.
Are you kidding me?
Cheers, Mike. Everybody loves to see that Mike's back.
Hi, guys.
So
good to see you again, too.
The only thing that drew him here was that Bob Blair. That's the only reason. If it's Bob Blair, it's Mike's in the house.
I just show up. I can smell it.
Travis.
You'll find out a little more on that a little later.
What do you got?
I think Travis wants to know this.
Travis Faircloth, Sunday Evening Scotch, Jimmy Jazz, Jimmy Drammer, Chris Andrew, Eric Wade, Bob H. Bob H is in too. Trooper Henry, Brad Murphy, One Lost Cause was first or second. Bud, Jason, who else we got here? Andrew Spurrell, Loch Ness is here, James Brower,
he said
Steven
yes.
4570, which I have not seen before, and he's asking all 5 Macallan editions, which is your favorite? We don't have the 5th one yet.
That's dark.
Oh, it counts like coffee.
5th one is not.
So Mark's holding the Glendronach 1995 19-year-old.
I'm not going to do that to Drew. Drew will
We're
open
going to open it right now.
Drew will open that in Drew's time, and when he does, I'll have a dram then. Until then, it can stay right here.
Yep.
Anyway, who else we got on? I need a pour.
What would you like? We're drinking a little monkey shoulder. You want some monkey shoulder?
No.
Okay, well.
Wow. That was fast.
I'm sorry.
Should I pick something for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
RJG is a malt median. We didn't talk about Everwind. That's right.
Oh, that was a good choice.
All right, I gotta confess.
Wait a minute, we can't do that before that. It's gonna blow it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, gosh.
Let's start with that.
I
Yeah, pour that.
Okay, yeah. I want to talk about this though. So I went to make my pour for the secret Scotch swap this week. You know, I looked up the spreadsheet. We had to do a redo for those of you guys that didn't know. Anyway, and I picked, and this was one that I wanted to pour, and I opened up the cabinet, and I'm like, oh, it's gone.
Oh no, you drank it?
I forgot that I killed the bottle. So
that's the one you got. Vine and Table. That's right.
Yeah. So
didn't Whiskey Wheelhouse pick one up too?
Yes.
Or did you snatch
it
from him?
He was going to, but I kind of.
You're going there.
He's mad at me. I think he's probably still got a grudge because I went by and sniped it.
I want to talk to you guys about why you think there's two bottles here. It has to do with our topic of the night, which our topic tonight is bottle and batch variation. And we use both of those words, bottle and batch variation, because it does change. You know, there's batch variations from like Tamdu batch 1, batch 2, batch 3, stuff like that. But there's also bottle variations when you look at like a Glendronach Revival 15. There's two different versions of that bottle now, and they're different. One's Oloroso, one's PX and Oloroso.
Because they're different batches.
Right. So we want to talk a little bit about. Well, I know, but they don't say that on the bottle. They don't say batch 1. They don't say batch 2. They don't go out of their way to make a new batch.
Right.
So what we've got though is two different Ball Blair 1999s on the bar. This was this week's review. After we recorded the review,
yes, Eric, it is.
We realized we had an open bottle on the bar, and Sean grabbed it, and we get to looking. And
I saw that like right quick and in a hurry when I was like, oh.
They're different colors.
No, you?
Different colors,
Mr.
different. So what's the difference here?
So we have the one we did the review on that we released this week was the second release. It was bottled in 2015, 46% ABV. And then we noticed in the bar there was it doesn't call it second release, but it's bottled in 2014. So it's Ball Blair 1999, but they're bottled in different years.
So how far off of the years?
1 year.
So obviously that one's 1 year older, and are they the same?
There's a few different vintages that are like that.
They do actually say on the labels are different. One says they both say second release. Well, I think we might have switched a few boxes out because I think did you get one of these and no that's so anyway.
No, I did not.
The labels are different. I don't know if they are the same, both U.S. bottlings or not. I need to look at that. Yeah, they're both 750 mils. So, you know, there's a couple ways that can happen, but we can talk about that later when Dr. Scotch comes in.
Sure.
But we need to try that.
But the topic, thinking about the topic, you know, we got kind of burned on this being dummies on our very, very first review. Didn't know any better. So if you go back to review number 1, it was a Talisker Distiller's Edition. So excited about it. Didn't know anything about what Distiller's Edition meant, or, you know, grabbed it, reviewed it, loved it. We're like, woohoo! Well, fast forward 99 more reviews later, and we're doing our 100th review. Well, let's make it special, and we'll re-review the Talisker Distiller's Edition. It'll be the first bottle that we've ever reviewed twice. Came back around, and the aha moment goes on like, that's a different year. This is Distiller's Edition, whatever, and the first one didn't know they did that. We're stupid. We're dummies. And so now here we are still running into that in cases like this Ball Blair. And to be honest with you, I didn't even notice the difference in the Glendronach Revival 15. Travis Fairclough pointed it out to me. He sent me a link to the label of the new bottles, and he's like, what do you see that's different? And I read it. I'm like, nothing. And he's like, really? Read it again. Nothing. And he had to tell me, and I'm like, yep, that's different. One says Oloroso, the other says Oloroso and PX. Yeah. But there's a difference. So I'm curious, have you guys out there in virtual bar land, have you guys run into this? Have you been surprised? Have you been caught off guard? What do you guys think about? Do you look for that? Are you paying attention? Are you conscious enough to pay attention to variations? Some of them are very obvious. Tamdu batch 1, batch 2, batch 3.
But let's be like real here. So you're maybe to some degree you know what you're getting into. Like you're a Mike, you know the different batches.
2005 has that too. What else? I think 2003 has that.
different
releases
batches
of the same year.
Yeah.
Different years, 2015,
Different
2007, different bottlings.
But my point is, if you know these things, right? And so, but I mean, if you're around a liquor store and you see these, you have no idea. The box doesn't tell you anything about that.
That's true.
No.
That's very
So
true.
you're basically, hey, look, cool. I got the ball player. Woohoo! This is what I've been looking for. Well, this is a different batch.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's a different tasting. I mean, it should taste similar, you would think, but they don't.
But those who know look very closely at that stuff because there might be a huge
Well, they
difference.
open the box up, they look at the bottle.
Right.
The
I
bottle
mean,
will tell you.
exactly.
So maybe that's another
Yeah,
key
bottle
indication here.
2014. That one says
That's right.
2015.
But how do you? So I mean, this is a common thing. I'm assuming in a lot of different whiskeys, right? So you have to kind of know some of this going into
You
it,
do.
and you have to kind of make the extra effort, not just buy the box for what it is. Open it up, take a look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if you are part of Glendronach Appreciation Society or something like that, there are people taking pictures of the batch number on the back of their bottle. To note that this is this batch of 2015.
Right.
and this
Cask
is the year,
numbers,
this is
bottle
the year,
numbers.
This is the date it was bottled. I mean,
And you're gonna have that. It's just nature of the beast with this, right? But it's just something to kind of, to Mark's point, we're bringing it up as a conversational piece because there's multiple whiskeys out there that do this. Whether it's a bourbon, it's a Scotch, it's I'm sure rum. I mean everything, right?
I mean, how much do you think they make all the year's supply of Johnny Walker in one
No.
batch?
But-
No way.
But it's
So-
interesting. Those typically are damn near identical, right? Because of the blends and they mixed
Yeah.
it and they know what they're doing. Well, this is different. It's more maturation.
Right. So what everyone's saying is, and in all honesty, they're all different batches. Let's be honest. But to that point, the vast majority of your single malts, they go out of their way to make them very consistent. You know, a Glen,
Yes.
a
Like dry
Glenfiddich,
12.
or a Glenfiddich 18. Is it Glenfiddich 18? Is it Glenfiddich 18? And they do their darndest to make sure that from one bottle to the next, there's a standard consistency. Whereas this one, there's obviously a difference. I mean,
And it's almost a
Deep
way
red.
of distilleries to say, you know what, we're not going to put that kind of effort into it. We're just going to call it, it's the same basic whiskey and mostly maturation, but they're different. We're just going to call it a year or two later batch. Right? It's the same thing. So it's a way to kind of sidestep that whole workload.
right. See, the difference to me is these have vintages. These have an age on them. Whereas a Tamdu batch 1, 2, and 3, their NASs, they are very transparent. Batch 1 is batch 1, and batch 2 is completely and utterly different, made in a different time, different age. It's an NAS, so we don't even know what that age is. But they're very. It's like they intended to be very different. Where this, you almost get the feeling that they didn't intend it to be different. Just that's the way things worked out. I don't know. But if you're a big Ball Blair fan, you pay attention to that.
Yep.
You know, you're like, when you're looking online at that Ball Blair 99,
There's going to be little quotations that say, bottled in
Right.
2015, 2014, whatever year. Just happens to.
great
happens to
example
be.
are Glendronachs, okay? Allardyces and Parliaments. By golly, for those that know and those that care and want to make sure that what they're getting, they want to see the stamp on the back of the bottle, that little bitty code right there, because they can look that code up and they can tell exactly, what's in that bottle. And when you're ordering online, you may need to get to you may need to contact that warehouse, that website or whatever, and say, no, I want to make sure I'm getting this bottle, not just one they grab off a shelf.
Yep.
Because that's a major difference. One might actually be a 23-year-old whiskey.
We've had it with Tamdu.
Bob
Right.
still has 6 bottles of night.
Well, unless you're Bud, and he says that the first gallon of Lagavulin that he drinks is roughly the same as the next gallon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I can.
When you buy Lagavulin by the party ball.
But yeah, well, why does he
Party ball.
measure in such small quantities? I'm disappointed.
Didn't he say he's
Bud.
got a pool with Lagavulin?
Exactly.
Just absorbs it through his body. It's like cologne to him. He dips in the pool before he goes to work every day.
So it'd be interesting to kind of, tag team on this whole batch thing. Like, what out there have you had that's been like a real difference? Like, wow, this is supposed to be the same. This is completely different whiskeys, right? That'd be kind of interesting to see and discuss.
That one's that one, though.
And then
Yeah, I'm using the big
So
one.
how have you guys
Smell
got both of
both of
these?
them.
I poured in a pretty healthy pour, so I want to
For
pass
that,
it around.
for that one.
So
For the 15.
Oh man,
those of you on
That
podcasts,
one.
We have poured both the ball players.
That one's
right?
the bottle.
I hate to say it, you guys. I don't want you to think that I'm being influenced or I'm biased by the color, and it's hard to tell the color difference with just a little bit left. This one is darker, but on the nose, completely different whiskeys.
Which one is completely different?
So which for our podcast users, what are we talking about here?
Okay, so the one that we actually reviewed was this one.
2015 bottling.
You got to be specific here.
2015.
I can't see it.
The bottle 2015.
Okay.
And to me, pleasant on the nose. It's good. The bottle in 2014.
So 1 year before, it's a
The
different.
heavens open up and you hear
color-wise,
freaking
too.
trumpets.
I mean, they're
So
pretty.
the younger whiskey is better.
No. The older whiskey I think is better. Bottle in 2014.
That's
Bottle in
younger whiskey. When the bottle is younger.
Okay, I guess you're right. Yeah, I'm thinking this one backwards. You're right. Because it was distilled in 99. This was bottled in 14.
Don't mess
This
with
has
the
an extra.
doctor, man. He knows.
I don't mess with the
so I got
doc.
the same
It's
year.
numbers, man.
I poured
It's
the
numbers.
2014 and it's fire.
Which one?
2015.
Which one is this one?
That's the 2015 in your hand.
Okay, so I have the 2015.
This is 2014.
Man, oh man, it's just like flat.
I don't think the 15's bad. I think it smells wonderful.
think
You're like,
it's-
oh,
yeah.
it stands on its own. That's great.
good, but-
And then you sniff the 14, you're like, okay, I don't want that 15 anymore.
Whoa.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm gonna.
Everybody knows that.
I'm gonna drink it.
So everyone says, but he'll have more. There's more oxidation in that one,
Probably.
maybe.
Sure. I'm not gonna argue the fact that oxidation didn't have something to do with it.
Yeah, it's been sitting there a while.
Yeah.
Mm.
But either way, they're both good whiskeys. I don't think I would take back the review. I think it may get a little bit higher score if we had the other bottle, but but that's okay.
The 2014
Yeah,
bottle is.
It's sweeter.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's got a bitter chocolate note on the back end.
They are similar, but this one has a little bit more maturity. Feels like in it, a little sweetness to it. Whether it's oxidation or not, I don't know. I mean,
I think the 2015 bottle smells thinner on the nose.
Can it make it sweeter? Oxidation?
Well, we'll have to get in touch with Dr. Scotch on that because there's multiple ways that
Take third person
that
there.
can be done there. Yeah.
First person.
When Dr. Scotch comes in, we can talk all about that details of what makes a
Sounds
batch
good.
batch and
He's due soon.
why would there.
Oh, look who's back. If it's not Sunday evening Scotch talking about this wounded zebra. Well, our wounded zebra hunter's not on the bar tonight, so we might have to do a kill without him.
He said he might be on chat, but I haven't seen him yet. So, hey, speaking of haven't seen for a while, George Kaplan, good to see you, sir.
Hey,
It's been a
is he
while.
on?
Yeah, he's on. I see him.
wow.
Yeah, awesome,
Hey,
George.
all right.
Good to see you
Good shout
on.
to him, maybe.
Yeah. And Belush.
Belush.
He was asking earlier, did we ever go to Big Red?
Did he say that?
Yeah, he was asking.
So we'll
Yeah.
talk about that in a little bit on the show. We've actually got some news to talk about, and that might actually be whiskey in the news a little bit. To Scotch for Dummies in the news anyway.
Sure.
But I haven't tasted this one yet, so this is the 2015. It just doesn't have the depth on the nose of the 14.
It's weird.
I just tried it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a discussion on the barreling of this, and I think it may be on the
It's
box.
lighter.
I think it's on the palate. The 2015 bottled. I think it tastes a little bit more like straw, a little bit more grassy, but like dry straw. You know, not green, but like a dry hay. Whereas that 2014, man, it's got a chocolate note on the end. This is the 15. This one.
This one. Okay.
So that's interesting. I mean, there's differences. Whether
Right.
you obviously you can put some variables in here with years. You know, the amount in the bottle it's left, oxidation. You've got, I mean, definitely different color. One's darker than the other. But other than that, I mean, I'm not sure what else.
It would be nice to get a little bit more detail on dates of bottling.
And they might.
You know what I'm saying?
They might have them with that code on the back.
Yeah, because
that
saying
one
distilled in 99, bottled in 14, like
It's hard to tell what that number means.
like when? Like,
Right.
are you talking a January? Are you talking
June.
a hot June? Well,
Summer was bad that year.
Well, I mean, it does. There's
a dark and stormy night.
But see, my point is there are bottles that are intentionally different, and we know that distillers editions. I mean, honestly, I've gone out of my way to get distiller editions from certain bottlings that are from specific years, and I had one where a website sent me the wrong year. What they advertised on the website was not what I got, and they gave me a healthy discount back because it was too much to ship it back, but. Those are intentional, and we all know to look for those. Distiller Edition 1999, 2007, 2008. But there are other bottles out there that are variants that you don't even know to look. You didn't even realize there was a difference. I didn't know there was two different ones. I wouldn't have known to look better. So now I just want to make the point of, man, when you're really starting to look into this stuff, maybe you need to consider, hey, is there just one variant of this, or is there two? Do I need to be cognizant of this or not?
So everyone made a comment. It's interesting. If it is a vintage, all the whiskey in the bottle had to come from the same year.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
This is not a vintage.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
It was distilled in 1999. It's just one sat in a cask for a year longer.
Maybe.
We don't know that.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like if one was
we need to call that
one was bottled, one was
I think it's
put in
Dr.
the
Scotch.
cask.
Are you ready for Dr. Scotch?
Like in January, and another one was put in November. It's still 99.
God, I need a drink to figure this out.
And then let's say it ended up being bottled in January, and another one was actually bottled in July.
Right.
So your months, it's still
may be the exact same time in cask.
correct.
So the question
You're
is,
still going to have the different.
I would argue that they came from different casks with that coloring, but I don't know. You're right. We need more information.
No one will ever know, right?
Right.
But there is somebody that might be able to help us out. I think he has some chemical background.
Bring him in.
He just got here, right? I heard the garage door open.
They call me Dr. Scotch.
And there he is.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
Hey.
Good to see you, sir.
Dr. Scotch here. I play a doctor on YouTube, but I'm not one in real life. But it's still.
So we've had some questions come up, Mark.
Question,
What's going on with this whole Ball Blair situation? Actually, Mike, what's going on with this situation here with
Mr.
Dr.
Ball
Scotch?
Blair.
Mr. Ball Blair.
Tell us what the scenario is. What's the problem? What's the conundrum?
The conundrum.
Dun, dun, dun.
The problem is there's two different bottles. There's two different bottled dates. Mm-hmm. One's a 14, one's a 15, but it's still put in the cask in the same year,
Okay.
99, and it's being considered a vintage, which is fine.
Yeah.
One's significantly darker, has different flavor profile. One's spicier, one's more sweet and like a chocolate and fruit almost.
Not yet.
Just not as much, but they're being. I don't even know if the distiller even considers them the same.
Yeah. So when you're making whiskey and you're bottling whiskey, everything has to be by batch, and the size of the batch is all dependent on how big your tanks are, what kind of whiskey is good, all those kind of things. Now the thing, Andrew gave me my hat on the way through,
Yeah,
so
it was a hat
changed
change.
over. Yeah.
Change.
So the thing with batching is keep in mind all of these big batches of whiskey didn't come from one barrel. So every barrel you get is different. It's a natural product. You have different grain. You have different char levels. You have different things. All that is different. So a batch of whiskey is a vatting of an untold number of casks. Now, theoretically, what you assume was, hey, they went out to the warehouse and got all the 1999 casks, poured them in a barrel, and
Right. That's what I would assume.
That's not what they do.
So you're telling me they put them in the vat?
They taste every individual cask, and then they blend those casks to what they want.
So they're basically saying that they get those barrels and they formulate what they're calling the 1999.
Yes.
And then they're making this soup.
Yeah, and it's all 1999. It was all distilled in 1999. But like you said, I heard you say as they come down the stairs, sometimes they're older, sometimes they're younger, sometimes they're distilled in January, sometimes they're distilled in December. Both 1999, but they were in the barrels another year. The also thing, if you look at this is in American oak, ex-bourbon, Spanish oak, ex-sherry butts. So what percentage? Maybe this one is more bourbon barrels and this one is more sherry butts.
That's the gray
so
area.
all that comes into it. And they ran out of the sherry butts before they did the 2015
I
bottle.
guess so. My disappointment or dislike with the distillery then is that they do that and then they label it and call it exactly the same. There is no difference. These both say second release on them.
That's correct.
So that's the marketing
right.
slick.
So to me, that's non-transparency. Let me know there's a difference, and that's fine.
year.
But they do
Where are you putting that?
technically
It's on the bill.
on the bottle.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's the fine print.
Right. So, but don't call it second release. Call it third release. I don't know. Okay.
But to the whole point of the conversation here, this is a normal procedure.
This is normal. Now, typically, what the major distillers do is they have blenders where their job is to make sure that if I take this barrel, that barrel, put all these barrels together, it will create a blend that's what I want. Or they'll blend a bunch of them, and then they'll say, what does this need to be right? And they'll bring a sherry cask in, dump it into the batch, and it adds the flavor that it needs. So those blenders, their job is to make a consistent product. This could be in a situation where they thought they were going to have enough sherry butts, but when they went and tasted them in 2015, they were wrong. They broken, or there was something bad about the barrel.
Right.
They just couldn't add it. It would have ruined the batch.
But then it's a different bottle. It's different product. You know what? When I go buy a Ford Mustang,
It's all 1999 stuff.
and that was produced in 1999. I don't go and get one that came out in July 1999, and it looks like a Chevy Camaro.
No, but if you get the 64.5 Mustang and 65 Mustangs have different stylings. I mean,
You're right, because one was made in 64 and one was made in 65.
And you've never heard of a car company changing their style package mid-year?
I think we're on a tangent here.
Oh, yeah. So
The point being
yes.
is it depends. Where it really boils down to is the max volume that they're looking at from yield. So
and the skill of the blender. And
like a
what
Macallan 12, they'll never. They will keep that going forever. Whereas this specific incident here, the Ballblower 1999. There's not like how many bottles were made of that.
Well,
right?
and even something like the Macallan 12, their blenders are trying to get the same flavor every year.
Right.
So they will. It says it's at least 12 years old. So maybe this year's 12-year-old whiskey is weak. So we need to add some 18 to it to bring it up to the right flavor.
Or to your point, some distilleries have more inventory than others, and they're like, you know what, we're getting close to running out on this year. Let's fine tune it, get it back out there, and mass it out, and then we're done with this year. And we got to go with something else.
I mean, and barrels age differently depending on where they're in the Dunnage house. So that's why the blenders have to taste every single barrel. And for example, that Macallan Classic Cut edition 2018 that I think you guys reviewed a couple weeks ago, there was 90,000 bottles in that. You know, how many casks does it take to put 90,000 bottles? You know, that's a lot of casks. And so to taste every
And to
single
make
one of
them
those casks,
Right.
But
so
kind of the same.
exactly.
this is just a little bit more. I don't want to use the word deceitful. It's just not as transparent. The Macallans, the rare cask, they're pretty open about it. There's release 1. There's
Correct.
release 2. There's release. They're a little bit more. It's right on the box, right there. I know when I'm getting this. You gotta even know first of all that they're doing it. I didn't know.
Glendronach 12 changed when they changed master distillers.
Sure.
Macallan, I'm sure Macallan 12 is different now than it was 20 years ago. I'll guarantee it tastes different. Just because blenders change, stocks change, whiskey,
no doubt about
their
that.
grains change. So you're going to have batch to batch variation. It's a natural product. It's naturally fermented. It's naturally aged. It's blended by a human. There's going to be variation.
I wish I would have gotten first release of this.
Yes. So what was it? What was there?
Just to find out.
Right.
There was another Ball Blair that had a first release that was only in, that was in 95, I think. The one that wasn't that the one that you were, that brought you into the fold? The Ball Blair 95.
I thought the
No,
90
the
was.
90 was
90.
90.
Ball Blair 90.
Yeah.
There was a first release of Ball Blair 90, like to travel retail or something. But then they took that whiskey and put it in different barrels to finish it, and they released the 95 that you like. That is a second release,
90.
The 90.
Yes.
Now, Ball Blair 90 is a second release. and they put them into different barrels to finish them, to bring it back up to what you got and what you loved. So
I need to look up, see how many batches they did of 90.
I don't know. Ask the
I've had
community
that
right
one.
now. How many batches of Bob Blair 90 are there? How many releases?
Yeah. Bob H has. Check yours to find out if you have all the same release on your bottles that you have.
I will say Everwin is super intelligent. He always has really good comments. And he made a comment that it's a very good point, and it's something to think about. He thinks we're being a little too harsh, and
I'm not, because I love it.
Well, whiskey changes, in the bottle once it's open. Absolutely, you talked about this before.
We know that.
Absolutely, not disagreeing with that. But I mean, there's a big difference between
these two.
Whether it's open
there
or not.
is.
I'm not sure I've seen a bottle get that much better while it's open.
No, I mean there's definitely
With chocolate
some
notes.
differences to making it work, and Siri thinks I'm talking to it. Basically, to adding to your point, this is a big difference here. So whether you open it or not, it's
Yeah. I'm not trying to be hard. I was really just wanting to bring it to light because, I mean, it's a learning experience for me. I had no idea that I needed to look at it in Bob Blair's. I'm becoming more cognizant of it on certain distilleries, certain bottlings, and this is just another one. I mean, when you get into vintages, there's obviously a difference. I just didn't realize I needed to look at it from a bottle
As a bourbon lover, which a lot of people will know this, or not know this, but know of this, is the Elijah Craig barrel proofs that come out.
Right.
The A, B, and C.
Yes.
Now it's making me curious. I want to find out, because they're all 12-year.
Right.
So, and they're all significantly different. So I think I might go ahead and dip into that a little bit and do some research, try to look at that and see how that works with how they age it and be able to do the three different batches, because that's their version of like batch 1, batch 2, batch 3 of that year.
Yeah, I mean,
so they're kind of a vintage.
Yeah, the bourbons are an interesting thing because it's so much hotter where they age it, and so the location in the barrel, or the location in the rick house makes such a difference in the whiskey. I mean, that's why 12 years.
And between the A, B, and C, you can tell.
Yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, here's the point we're trying to make is that when you buy something on the shelf, be aware that they may be different batches, and there could be some differences.
Yeah. And the key thing to note is if you're that interested in it, you care about it that much, the cans are never sealed. I don't think. Typically never sealed. You can pull it out. You can look at the bottle. You can see the serial number, the batch number. They've all got a batch number on it. If take your time, learn it before you go in. If that's really important.
Take your time. Look at the color.
But either way, if you picked up either one of these on the shelf, you would be disappointed.
And let's be honest. I mean, if you're getting to that kind of degree of looking at the bottles, you're serious enough to know what you like.
Right.
So there's a whole different area we're talking about as well.
Yep.
So Dr. Scotch, you gotta get out of here. We need to move on with the show. I'm kicking the doc out.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for being with us, Doctor.
All right, Doc.
Andrew.
Cheers. Right. Go get Andrew. Bring him back.
They call me Dr. They call me Dr.
Trying to see if
all right, thanks, Doctor.
Bob H.
We got to talk to you. We need to get your email address. Can you email us?
Can't check. I'm out of town. Okay, Tom or Bob.
Scotchfordummies@gmail.com so we can contact you, please. We have some thoughts for you.
Who?
Did I miss Dr. Scott?
He be a she.
Oh yeah, and
or D be a she.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So let's move on. We do have some other things to talk about tonight as far as what's going on. I wanted to give a quick update on the Scotch swap. I think it's going along fine. I believe people are starting to pour out samples. People are starting to get their samples to their people that they're supposed to get them
about
to.
20, maybe?
21, 22 people. So that's moving along. I know some of the samples need to travel great distances, so we need to make sure.
You gotta drive them.
I want to make sure I'm hitting on that. But we've got a few things to talk
salsa,
about.
by the way.
Oh, it's absolutely salsa.
Mike's right.
Salsa.
we do have a few things to talk about in Scotch in the News if we want to go. Even though Sean is not here, we should put Sean on location. But I don't know if he's going to make it. I think he's got a 5 a.m.
Let's skip
flight.
the intro and
That's still good.
Since we're not going,
Yeah.
Since Sean's not here, we won't do the intro and stuff. But for Scotch in the News, I actually have one thing that I want to talk about from Scotch for Dummies in the news to kind of give you guys an update on something that happened today. But you had a really good thing that you wanted to bring up, and I was like, we're talking about that in Scotch for the News. So go on and bring this guy up if you can. I never heard of this, and things fly over our head all the time, right? But I didn't realize that Compass Box.
Our friend John Glazier.
Absolutely, our good friend John Glazier. I love the guy to death. He's doing good stuff. Has put out a new bottle, and he's doing new bottles all the time.
They're doing a series 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
And it's called Myths and Legends.
Myths and Legends. You guys heard of it? I'm already intrigued.
Tom and I already had.
Of course.
Tom and I already had a discussion
Tom
of
already
this.
has 3 bottles of it.
Tom's got 3 bottles.
Actually, he doesn't.
He's looking.
Not yet. Benny's knows it. He wants.
Of course they do.
But it is considered a single malt Scotch whiskey coming from Compass Box.
So
a single malt Scotch whiskey.
the question I got to pose on Scotch for the Scotch in the News, is this the first time Compass Box has ever done a single malt whiskey?
I would say yeah.
As far as I know,
They're a
it is.
blending company,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and I didn't. We discussed this before.
I'd
the
like to
show.
have this conversation with John.
I really
and
would
say,
too.
Give him a call.
What's going on?
Because
Maybe we
I
could stop
How
it.
does-
yet again he's pushing the boundary. Is it? Can you do that? By
But he calls
Yeah,
it
of course.
single malt.
It's a single malt Scotch whiskey. It
I
meets
know.
all the needs. It's the same.
but it's a
distillery.
single malt whiskey that's being. Well,
So tell us about it.
See, it doesn't have any ages. It's called
just
Myths and
feels
Legends 1 out of a series of 3, and it's all Ball Blair.
Is it really?
Yes.
No wonder you're interested.
so there's 3 different.
There's 3 different. There's a recharred American oak barrel, which Ball Blair Distillery, 26%, has lemon sherbet, cereals, and floral. It has another recharred American oak, 16.3%, Ball Blair Distillery, lemon sherbet, cereals, and floral. But then it's got this other one, first fill bourbon barrels, 57.7%, Ball Blair Distillery. And it's peaches, salted caramel, and pink grapefruit
Right.
on
So,
the flavor
I
profiles.
mean, I guess at the end of the day, like Steve and Sunday Evening Scotch Mike are saying, I mean, it really is no different than an independent bottler doing this, right? So, I mean, honestly, the Mortlock 15 from Gordon MacPhail, single malt Scotch,
Single malt Scotch whiskey. Yep.
delicious. And I'm sure it has a variety of Mortlock whiskey barrels, you know. So it's no different. To me, it's just catching me off guard because it's not what I expect to come from John Glazier. I mean, he's always just, you know, coming at you from the left. I mean, I'm interested in
Always
it.
adds a little bit of grain whiskey
What's,
in it. to piss
yeah,
people
this
off.
one doesn't have any
No,
grain
it's
whiskey
all-
in it.
Well,
Single malt.
John is a huge grain whiskey fan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
but he's
fan of
also a huge, what is it, Clynelish? He's a,
Clynell,
yeah.
yeah.
So, but this is
Clynelish.
all Ball Blair, and it's just interesting. Now, what did you say the price point on this was?
Right now I'm looking at one that's $130
Where
before shipment
$130.
is it? Is it over the pond?
over the pond.
Okay.
Oh, 130 pounds then, or
So
$130?
Well, once you do the
Okay.
it's about just around 130, between
So we
130
need to
and
make some phone
140.
calls.
Well, is it coming to the U.S. or no?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything of that. Maybe Tom might have talked to,
Oh, I'm making a.
Somebody on it.
I'm reaching out tomorrow.
but
I know how I'm going about this.
but
I'm
everybody,
You know a guy.
you know, I want a bunch.
I mean, yeah, we got to find out. And you know what?
You
I
like
mean,
Ball Blair? Yeah.
honestly, I'll start local and make a few phone calls. And if I know that it's coming here, then I'll just stand down and wait for it to get here. But
That's-
if it's not, then I'm gonna make.
I
a
was
few,
thinking about doing the same thing.
you know, I mean, you don't want to, try to throw any weight or pull any strings. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure we get a bottle of this.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
dying
yeah.
to try it.
Oh yeah.
Interesting
I
stuff.
saw somebody's drinking a no name too. Maybe we need to find one of those and do a comparison.
That would be
So
awesome
it's
to do,
time
too.
for me to make that phone call too. Man.
We
so-
have some serious Scotch to catch up on, actually, guys.
Yeah, we do. So
Behind.
another
Yeah.
topic in Scotch in the News, and we actually shot a mark on location for Scotch in the News, and the file, one of the 3 videos was corrupt. So The funny
We'll do it
thing
next
is,
week.
I'll tell you guys. Let me confess. I ended the Scotch on Location today with saying, "Hey, it's the first one that I've done that I didn't screw up." And
Still screwed it up.
so I think I jinxed myself on location, but whatever. I guess that's the point. But today, Drew and I actually sat down and had a good conversation with somebody high up in the Big Red liquor store chain here in Central Indiana. There are about 55 to 60 stores, I think, in Central Indiana, Southern Indiana. And I think we've got some really interesting collaborations on the horizon.
We do.
With this liquor store.
Good
and
stuff.
We're super excited because honestly, their liquor store has been kind of our go-to locally. That's where and we've kind of gone through the gamut of what they have to offer.
Yep.
But they also have some unique things. They've got a tasting, bar in their liquor store, and we wanted to be a partner with them. We want to do things with them because they're our local liquor store. But now we have kind of some permission to shoot some video in their stores, which is going to take Drew and I down some ideas we've had for you guys.
We've been waiting on these for a few years. Actually.
Yeah, but there's going to be some interesting things, and who knows where this leads us. But
we don't want to say anything yet, but we got some pretty good prospects that
it may open some doors on some previous ideas that you all are waiting for. Let's just say that, and I'm not going to comment anymore on that.
Leave it at that.
What?
But the news is good,
News to you
and
too.
excited about maybe getting together and start to do some stuff with our local liquor store, and hopefully educate our subscriber base on our liquor store experiences and walking into a liquor store and kind of judging the shelf and what do you do and what am I looking for and why did I come
Are they
in
going to
here?
get us Pappy 23?
No.
No, we're a Scotch channel.
But this
Are
is
they going to get us Mac 25?
in 25 years. No, but this is kind of the reason too. Is you can't. I mean, technically you can, but you shouldn't walk into any store and start filming without permission. Right?
Right.
And so we've had lots of things that we want to do. And honestly, the reason we started this whole thing is because I didn't know anything about Scotch, and you guys had some learning to do as well. And we thought, you know what, let's go in the liquor store and look around. And we're like, that's really the gist of our spawn, right? And so we want to
wasn't drinking it at all.
Right.
Yeah,
and so we want to be able to film that experience and then also talk about where we are today, because a lot of you guys, I mean, there's different levels. I think most people watching us right now on the live show, you guys are media experts.
Into it.
You know what you're talking about. There's a lot of people that contact us all the time. And I'm like, hey, I'm just getting into Scotch, etc. We want to share that experience with those people as well. As like, how did we get there? And when we do go to the liquor store, what do we look for, right? Even now, to some of you experts, when we walk in, like especially when you walk in, you go, the first thing we know when you go, well, how much money do I have? I'm not going to spend that much. But most people go in there, and today
How much for a rib?
Like you,
One rib.
One rib.
when you're going in there, your experience is completely different than Mark's and myself.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got a different palate, you've got a different experience, but you also are looking for something specific that you're looking for. Whereas you're looking for something that is in your palate wheelhouse in a sense, but really more of
Off
what
the
have I
cuff.
not had yet.
Right, I'm looking for something to intrigue me. I'm looking
Right.
for something to catch my eye.
So all these points I'm making is we want to be able to shoot stories based on some of these ideas.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because I was in the liquor store the other day and I had time to spend. So I was pulling the Glendronachs out of the tubes to get the years on the.
Did you have time to spend or did you have money to spend?
I didn't have a whole lot of money because I didn't end up picking any of those up. But yeah, you pull them out of the tube. It's like, this is a 23-year-old. They're, depending on what year it's bottled, with Glendronach, it's kind of a weird balance there.
Oh.
But
Well, we had a really good
18s and stuff.
conversation, a 30-minute meeting, and we're excited about it. We've been wanting to have this meeting for a few years, and it was about the timing and making sure that we knew what we wanted and what we could bring to the table. And I'm excited about what it's going to do for the channel. Hopefully, we can bring you guys some new stuff, and hopefully, we can bring you guys some stuff that you've been wanting outside of just videos.
Hey, let's talk about something really fun, by the way.
All right, let's do
Talk
it.
about 2020.
All right, let's Scotch. I mean, it's not in the news, but we can shut that segment down. Let's talk about 2020.
What's going on in
What
2020?
what did we do already? So last week, this week actually, I put a little work in earlier this week. Over the last 3 or 4 months, we've talked about this trip that we're going to do to Scotland, right? Everybody knows about it. Well, we've also started receiving emails from a lot of you saying, hey, I'm in. Count me in. Hey, put me on the list. hey, and the first couple that came in, they're like, hey man, there's interest. That's pretty cool, right? Anyway, that's awesome. Maybe we're on to something. Well, now here we are. It's coming up on October. We've actually got a lot of work put into this. I mean, and we're getting ready to cross a line where we can't back up once we really start committing funds to this. And it dawns on me that there's probably a dozen to 15 people that have said count me in, and I haven't been tracking these people. So I start just combing through our email, putting a spreadsheet together, figuring out, oh my gosh, let's see what our number looks like. Yeah, I mean, seriously, going through Discord. So I put a spreadsheet together. I shared it with our patrons, and I put it on Discord and said, hey, for interest or whatever. And at the end of the day, the spreadsheet, we've already got 23.
Pretty much full already.
The bus is pretty much full.
Right now, the bus is scheduled to have 30 people on it. There's 4 of us. They'll leave 26 spots, and I think 22 to 23 are already called for. Now, admittedly, they haven't paid anything yet.
Right, and so...
But it's
damn near full.
So we're actually in discussion with the tour group to say,
can we get an extra bus?
Is there room for more? Can we do a larger bus? Can we break the... See, the problem you run into is most of these distilleries are very small, so you can't have 50 people going in one tour group. You got to break it up into 2 or 3, even with 30.
Stop it.
Am I squeaking? Am I walking? So you can't break that tour.
Totally
you have to break the tour group into smaller people, and we'll come together for certain parts of it, but that's fine. We're all gonna be on the same bus. We'll all be having fun. We'll be hanging out in the hotel.
Nothing is definitive yet. We're still working through the numbers and some of the options. But the good thing is that we're getting real damn close. I mean, reality's setting in. Things are getting in play. We've got numbers coming back now, and we've got people basically check marking. Yeah, give me a seat. And so things are going well.
So if you're interested, June 22nd through the 26th. 2020, you will show up in Inverness. You will arrive back in either Glasgow or Edinburgh. We don't know exactly yet, and so we're not dealing with getting over there. But once you pick you up in Inverness, we got the bus, we got hotels, we have most of the meals. They're not covering the evening whiskey, so that's going to be on your own. But there's the promise that there will be good quality whiskey bars, all within walking distance of all the hotels.
And we've reached out to 10 distilleries already.
I'm so freaking excited about some of these tours.
5 days, 4 nights, hotel, bus, tours, everything is included.
We're getting some seriously special treatment tours so far.
Yeah, I mean we've reached out and really tried to pull our network and our connections together to make sure that these distilleries give us something a little more special than what you can get off the street. Now, some of them might not be able to do that, and that's fine. But some of the tours will be special and unique. Some of them will maybe more, typical.
So talking to the tour company, it's they may not have like a specific tour that's different, but maybe we'll taste a unique barrel, or maybe we'll get some new make that nobody else gets, or maybe they'll.
Or we're gonna roll our sleeves up and we're gonna roll some damn barrels.
Or maybe they'll be bottling, and you'll get the first taste out of that bottling. Some of these kind of things where you may have a chance to get something that you can't get.
And by the way, a couple of the distilleries don't even have public tours.
No, but they're opening them up.
But they're making something happen.
So send us an email if you're interested. We'll put you on the list.
Right.
There will probably be a wait list, but that's okay.
Even better, get on our Discord channel.
That's where it is.
That's really, really
There's
good.
a specific channel just for discussion on this.
Yep, and so basically get on Discord. If you don't know how to get in Discord, go download it. You can do it via your browser, your app, your phone, or your computer, whatever. You can search for Scotch for Dummies, or go to any one of our videos. There's a link in there in our description for the link to get in Discord. Discord is basically a persistent chat. And in that chat, you're going to have tons of channels it's a living organism by this point. I mean, everybody's talking in it. But there's a specific channel called Scotland 2020 where we have all this tour information out there and people are talking about it, and you can sign up right there. Good stuff.
Yep.
It's going to be a good time. I'm honestly expecting to lock things down relatively soon with the distillery so we can literally hand it all over to the tour company. And once it's handed over to the tour company, they're going to put down the pricing and open things up. And when that happens, we're going to go to the spreadsheet first.
Yep.
Okay, the people in the spreadsheet will be contacted first on, whether they want to commit to a deposit and whatnot.
Yeah, so to officially sign up, they'll require a 50% deposit down, and then pay for it later.
You're so funny.
So that's when we'll commit. So we'll essentially go through the list. If people are confident they want to commit, they'll send the tour company the money, and if they're not, they'll pass, and then we'll move down the list. So.
Right. It'll be pretty simple.
Yep.
So we are closing on the end of the show here. We got about 8 minutes left. What else is going on, Mike? We haven't seen you for a while. What's going on with
let's
you?
pass this over to Mike.
How you been doing?
What's going on?
How's
in
the bourbon world?
Bourbon world, Mike.
Just been busy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look good.
Any good collections? Anything new?
Any great finds that you had? Old Dusties or anything?
Oh, I know he's got a couple of finds in the last couple months because I've procured them.
You've helped me out with a couple of SMWS.
Oh.
You got an SMWS?
But that's
ball player?
Scotch, right?
You have two of them?
That's
Dang.
Yeah.
He's got quite a ball Blair collection over at
He's
his.
a ball buster, isn't he?
Yeah.
Cast strength, too.
Yep.
Cast strength, Ball Blair. Wow.
That's going to take you a while.
So, I mean, are you opening anything, or are you just still building the collection? What's going on?
Actually trying to finish some
Zebras?
zebras
Yeah.
with my neighbor. So
It's that time of year, dude.
turned
It's
them
fire
around.
pit.
Oh,
I mean,
heck yeah.
it's time
Fire
to start.
pit bourbon.
when I headed over here, he was in his
Really?
driveway with a fire pit.
It's
I'm like-
that time of year. I mean, it's getting cool in the evenings. You
Yeah.
get a fire cranked up, and pour a whiskey. That's it.
Pretty soon, it's going to be about 3 to 4 days a week, just hanging out, starting a fire.
Yeah, so that's the awesome time of the year, the fall, when you get a fire and you get the heat.
It's
That might be
definitely
back
every
when-
Friday. You
Yeah.
guys walking around every Friday. We're out there.
Well, I mean, and it's getting time for you to watch, postseason baseball, isn't it?
I
No,
hope.
not for Cubs.
I hope.
You
Hey,
hope.
man.
I hope.
Didn't somebody get injured?
I hope. We had a couple injuries, Rizzo and Baez.
Oh
So-
no!
Oh,
Oh,
man.
no.
We'll see.
Hurting
what
me.
But they brought in, man. They brought in a couple
Are those players or?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
good calls though. Tell you what.
That's good.
You know, it might be the fall. You and I have been out of the peat world for a while. We don't miss it so much, but I think we're getting to the point where the campfire time, the
Let's
fall
see,
season,
so if it's
might be
cool
calling
Sunday,
back.
It might call. I'm sure it's cyclical, guys. It's all mood drinking anyway. I
I've
mean,
got this
what the
bottle I
weather's
haven't
like.
opened at all, and I've had it in my bar
Well,
for
and
almost a year and a half.
so maybe
We kill that in a
man.
heartbeat, dude.
So maybe Sunday would get a fire pit. I've got some SMWS
Unopened.
of the dark green and light green label varieties that may be willing to open
Really?
and share. Yeah. Does it be good? Get a fire pit going.
So, are you saying you're willing to see that fully healthy zebra go down? Forget the wounded one.
Yeah, I
This one's getting close to being wounded too.
Yeah, you probably. If you're not
Oh.
gassing, we need to drink
Is
that.
that's the
Yeah.
old bottling,
That's the
right?
centenary, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, good times.
It is that time of year though, so
It is.
Yeah.
It's Scotch
Uh,
season.
I don't know if we're going to actually attend any of the whiskey expos coming up at the end of the year. I kind of doubt it. I think we've got enough on our plate, so I don't see us.
Probably not,
We haven't
to be
committed
honest.
to any of the whiskey, like the Chicago or Vine and Table or New York City.
Yeah.
Not to say we're not going to do any traveling towards that, but I don't know if we're going to be like going out of our way for those events this year, just because we've got kind of enough in front of us right now.
Yep.
I will say. Be on the lookout though here in the next couple weeks, making a trip up to Chicago, and we'll be doing an interview very similar to our John Glasgow interview.
Malcolm and
John Glazier. I said Glasgow. I'm the one. Yeah, I'm reading this. Yeah, John Glazier interview. Malcolm from OP is going to be in the United States with Steph, and so she set up some time for us to meet up with him at Delilah's.
I was gonna say,
Sweet.
and we're also
That's
talking
awesome.
to the owner of
And,
Delilah's.
right, so we're going to interview the owner,
He's
Mike,
a cool dude.
of Delilah's, which was voted like the best whiskey bar in the United
Yeah.
States last year. So Steph's got it reserved. We've got upstairs reserved for a period of time. So we're going to sit up there and have some whiskeys and get to know Malcolm. Which, by the way, for those of you coming and interested on the trip next year, OP is one of the stops, and so we're already trying to let Malcolm know that we want to come in and roll up the sleeves and move some barrels and just smell the dank dunnage house.
Get into it, man.
Yeah,
Just put an ankle in it.
right. Give me a shovel. I'm gonna start flipping some malt. I don't know. So looking forward to that too. But that's about all I got as far as content. And what?
Andrew's killing my bottle.
No.
So
You're not.
So I just corked or opened this.
Tried to open.
Balakin Age 12 Burgundy cask, and the little wooden part of the cork came off. So Drew gives me this.
I just want to hear you say it again.
That's my spare cork. But
It's a spare cork, but this is an extra wide neck bottle. So you put the spare cork in there. You're supposed to push this thing down to tighten it up. Well, it's not.
It's not girthy
It's
enough.
not girthy enough to fill the neck. So
That's
Awesome
what she
bottle.
said.
What she
so we're gonna have to work on that later.
Ooh.
It's a doozy. Yeah, that's a good bottle.
Oh my gosh!
I've shared. I had a
real
bottle
nice.
and shared the vast majority. I mean, I gave some samples out. I love that bottle. It's a good
I'll
bottle.
probably do another sample of that too. 'Cause it's one of those things that's just so rare.
Belikin
Right.
heavily peated. So this is an Adrador distillery. Their Belikin is their heavily peated version, and then Burgundy cask matured.
Oh, it's a unique
Burgundy
whiskey.
and peat.
67.5%.
Hey, I just
Nice.
noticed that Lee is in.
Lee is
Lee, when did you
on.
sneak
Nice.
in here?
She is
Mike,
on.
sure have missed you. Great to see you. Well, it's good.
Hi,
to see
Lee. Nice to see you on here.
Lee's got a lot going on. I don't
Yeah,
know
she
if
does.
you.
She's almost.
Did you see the
Isn't
new
it-
design?
Isn't it? No, I have not seen the new design. But when is she? When are you heading out, Lee?
When Lee, you head out in November?
Yeah, it's coming up right quick and in a hurry.
Yeah, she's definitely got to start getting her stuff together.
She is
for that.
gonna have so much fun. It's
Oh,
gonna
her
be
big trip.
crazy.
Yeah, talk about
It's
envious.
like next
Oh,
week
my
or two.
God.
Oh, is it that?
It's soon.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
it's in
November.
September.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
September? All right. Well,
She may
so
be there right now.
Well, and then
Yeah.
there's actually Scotch in the news about is it Lagavulin is releasing for something for the Isle of Jazz Festival, which I think she'll be there for roughly in that time. 21-year-old Lagavulin. It's only $390.
So you know what? With that being said, I didn't realize it was 2 weeks. You know, we're that close. Lee, I need to talk to you like on the phone here, probably. You know, maybe after the show or in the next day or three to talk about some things. Wanna be involved or help you get your experience out. This is going to be an epic thing, and we want to help kind of document that and get it out to the internet. So, don't know what you got. I hope you've thought through it all and you've got gear and equipment. Not to put stress on you, but I know you're gonna have an awesome time. But
She
let's
knows
talk.
what she's doing.
Oh yeah, she does.
She-
Yeah, she does.
Actually, she's doing really well. Things are going well for her. Her blog is blowing up. ScotchintheBayou.com, I think. If you haven't checked it out, subscribe. Great insight, good stuff. She's putting out there, good content. But she's doing really well. She's just
She's killing it. I'm excited for her. I can't wait to see what she puts out there from this experience.
I'm excited to see some of the things she's got planned coming out.
Right. Anyway, what else we got? Anything? 1, 2, 3. What's coming up as far as reviews, Drew? On what do we have on the horizon?
We just did a couple. I don't remember what.
I
they
don't
were.
either. That's why I said to put you on the spot.
So we'll work it out.
We've got we're
Scotches
good on that.
are, new reviews every Monday, live on Thursdays, and occasionally when we get creative, we'll have something on Saturday. But that's fairly rare right now.
We do have some guests that we need to get on. I've just kind of been delinquent in getting that set up. I know Ben Dietrich from the SMWS wants to come down from Chicago, so I definitely want to make that happen.
Come to
weather.
here?
Yeah.
Oh,
come down and be on the
awesome, man.
show.
You think you'll bring
love to
bottles?
see him again.
I
No,
don't,
no, not at all.
That's illegal to transport
None.
liquor across.
I don't
the
see him
state line.
traveling without it. I mean,
He'll bring some salsa, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true.
He won't
but
bring any.
I
bottles.
want to make it happen before the weather gets bad. He's going to
yeah.
drive down from Chicago. So we got that going on. We need to. I mean, I'm going up to Chicago to talk to Malcolm, which means a stop or two in Benny's. Tom, right? Can you set that up? I mean, not that I can afford it, but I'm sure I'm going to come home with some scotch.
Benny they have a good selection there.
Right.
They really do.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Going once, going twice.
Thank you guys on the replay if you're watching. I appreciate you guys. Leave a comment below if you have some questions. We'll get back to you. We'll answer every questions we can. If you're listening on podcast, exactly the same thing. Please go to our YouTube channel or Discord. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you and see what's going on.
Special shout out to our patrons. We really appreciate you guys for keeping us going. I mean, seriously, everything that you guys donate to us goes right back into this channel.
Yep, 100%.
A vast majority of it's going to the trip here coming up, and being maybe hopefully anything left over or that builds back up will be going to a cask.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't forgot about
Boom.
that.
Do we know a guy?
We have some plans.
Haven't forgot about that.
Nice.
There will be a bottle with Scotch for Dummies label on it.
And more.
Yeah,
And
so
more.
stay tuned. Anyway, we're working on that.
Oh.
Love everybody for joining in tonight. Great to see everyone.
We'll see you guys
Sláinte.
next week at the same time, the same bat station.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Lots of